So, hey, everybody. Welcome to a taste of Talk to the Entities. I'm curious, what would you guys like to know about? And feel free to come off mute and ask away. No questions to start? Come on, somebody be brave.
I'll start.
All right.
So today I believe the entities were coming to me a few hours ago when I was driving in the car. I start getting itchy, and I've been itchy since then. And I did ask about it, and I get that it's entities, and then I kind of just stopped myself from there. So can you talk about what are the next steps?
Yes, that's great. And let me just ask for the rest of you here. Are you guys afraid of entities? Do you think it's kind of cool that you could possibly communicate? Do you not want to believe that they're even around? What is the general sense for you?
Well, I would communicate.
Wait a minute. Are you on? Oh yeah, we're off. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's good. Yay. So cool. So when you, each one of us has different ways of having awareness about entities. It's something that each one of us needs to kind of learn with our bodies, because our bodies give us the awareness. Like the itching is one way. Some people have aches and pains in their body. Some people cough or sneeze. There's all kinds of ways. And so that's like the beginning, that there's somebody there and they're trying to get your attention. And it's usually light, like, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. And if we're just like, go away, I don't want to talk to you. Whatever, okay, you're an entity, bye. It depending on what they're there for, it might get more and more and more and more intense. And sometimes it's not that they want to create any pain or discomfort for you. It's just that they're trying to get your attention for something. So from that first awareness of like, oh, is this an entity? Yes, no, yes, okay, yes, okay. From there, that's when you start to ask some questions. Are you here for me? Do you want to be cleared? Do you want to be communicated with? Do you want to cooperate? Like there's lots of different things going on. It's sort of like meeting somebody, out there in the world. You meet somebody where they bump into you and you're like, hi, hi, what's up? What do you want? And sometimes they just want to be cleared. And that's the easy part. With the access tools, you can clear them. And in the beginning, Talk to the Entities was about clearing entities. And then it became communicating with, and then receiving from, and now it's expanded even more into cooperating with entities. Did I talk about that? I think I talked about that on the last free Zoom that I did on the entities and money. I talked about cooperating. So it's really about being curious and not scared, just curious. What's up? They come to you for many different reasons. One being that they know that you can perceive them in some way. And that's where we usually stop ourselves. We're like, no, who me? No. So should we do a clearing on that? Everywhere you don't want to acknowledge that you have an ability to perceive, clear, and communicate with entities, and that it's not significant, will you destroy and uncreate it all? We don't want to make it significant because that's where we take ourselves. So just have it be like, you know, it's just this person. Maybe they're a stranger. Maybe they're your grandparent or somebody else's grandparent coming to you to tell your friend a message. What if we took the stigma of weird phenomenon off of it and we just had it be, wow, they're a being just like we are. So everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And welcome to the last few people who've joined. I'd love to see your faces, if you wouldn't mind. And it's okay if you don't want to come on camera, I get it. So where shall we go with this tonight? I'd like to give you the sense that communicating with entities is not really abnormal. How many of you have gone somewhere shopping, let's say a mall or whatever, and you park your car and you go, and then when you come back out, you're like, where's my car? And you're like, ooh, where is it? Did I park here or there? And so you're tapping into your car going, where's my car? And it says over here. And then you turn and you go and you're like, oh yeah, there it is. Your car is an entity also. And it talks to you too. Have you ever asked your car to get really, really good gas mileage, like way better than it ever should? And you go on a road trip and you like don't even have to fill the tank? I've done that many times, going to Santa Barbara for classes and stuff. So you can talk to your car entity. You can talk to people who've passed over, crossed over entity. You can also communicate with people who are in bodies. How many of you are parents and you can telepathically communicate with your kids or your spouse or your siblings? So it's very much the same thing. However you get your awareness, you get your awareness. And it's going to be different for each one of you, but it's going to be so normal to you that you don't think it's any different. Does that make sense? Cool. So if we left it at that, like it's not a scary thing. People, there's not like goblins and, you know, things that are going to come and eat you or take over your body or whatever. I remember Shannon talking about like people who didn't want to have entities come into their bodies. And she said, do you leave your doors wide open of your house and let any random person just come into your house? And she says, it's the same thing with your body. You can say, no entities can come into my body. You make the choice. It's your house. You are the entity occupying your body. You don't need to let anybody else in unless you choose to. And you can also tell them to get out, just like you do from your house. So anywhere you're making it more complicated than that with entities, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. The thing to know is that you're in charge of your body, and you're in charge of your reality, and you're in charge of your reactions. So what could you choose? What is possible? And what can opening up to entities add to your life? And that's really the piece that that got me really interested, is that the more I was open to it, the easier my life became. And the more I opened to it, like the aches and pains in my body left and money came easier. It's really interesting what can happen when you start to open the door to the possibility of communicating with spirits, all spirits. So everything this is bringing up, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and meals. And actually, Christine, in the beginning class, there's this amazing flow chart. So when you have an awareness of it's an entity, you open up your flow chart. I even have it on my phone because it helps me. And I go through the questions. So you know how you like get to that place where you're like, oh, it's an entity, now what do I do? Because we forget. So it lays it out. Is the entity there for you or for someone else? And then you use your awareness, what's heavy, what's light, and you go from there. And then if it's for you, there's all these questions. If it's for someone else, there's all these questions. And you move through it, and it's like it reveals to you what you know without having to think. You can just look at the flow chart and be like, oh, this, and then boom, whatever's required. You choose it, you don't choose it. You demand to get paid for it first, whatever. Does that help?
It does help, and I know I have some resistance to the whole topic. Because I actually have the flow chart. It's not the newest flow chart, but I do, and it's hiding like under a stack of books on my nightstand.
Do you realize I have that flow chart in my phone in a couple different places, and I have the manual folded open to that page because I use it a lot. And
I put it on my
I
phone.
saw that she updated it and made it even better, oh my gosh. It's such an amazing tool. You don't have to think. It just makes it so easy to move through whatever it is. And we all know what it's like to push something away and not deal with it. And eventually it gets to be this big thing instead of this little silly thing to look at. So everywhere we're pushing it off, and I don't want to deal with the entity thing. I don't really have an ability. I don't really know what I'm doing. Will you destroy and uncreate all of that and know what you know? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. When I just did something for Talk to the Entities, Max was like interviewing the different facilitators. And he asked me some stuff, and all of a sudden my head is just going blank. I don't know what I was going to say. Hold on. Oh, I think we got to a place and said, so what was different after Talk to the Entities? And I was like, oh, well, the stuff before, when I was communicating with my brother who had died, I thought that was a fluke. Like, I didn't know it was something that I could do all the time with all kinds of people and things. I just thought it was a fluke. So where where are you with your ability? Is it just a curiosity? Or is it actually something that you know, something that you don't want to know that you know? Yeah. So all of that, all the don't want to know that I know, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Hey, Faye, is there a plug for this? Because
Oh, is
it's
it mine down?
15%.
It should be fine. Let me know if it gets down to 5.
Okay, now it's at 14. Sorry.
Ask the computer entity to run longer.
Yeah. So let's ask the entity of the computer, will the battery please last till at least the end of this Zoom? Thank you. Yeah, so there's, where were we? Now I can't remember where we were, sorry. Christine.
Where I don't want to know what I know.
Mhm. So what if knowing what you know gave you more ease, more joy, more glory, more money, more possibilities?
I'll take that. I'll
Yeah.
have.
Well, you know how they say that when you're willing to receive, you have to receive everything. And what we don't want to receive, when we just want to not do that, we cut off all of our receiving. You can't just not receive one little piece of the puzzle. You're going to cut all of your receiving off. So actually turning toward entities, spirits. Oh, it's on the other side. It might not. What about that one? We're just trying to plug this in. Sorry. including increases your receiving. And I'm not sure if any of you have noticed that when you choose to receive more, that your life gets greater, not worse. Have you noticed that? I don't think I know anyone who has done a bars class and started practicing bars or any of the access tools for that matter, and their life got worse. Not one person in the entire world. And when I started Access, it was in 2 countries, and now it's in 178 countries, and there's hundreds of thousands of people using these tools. So the more we're actually willing to open to all possibilities, including entities, the more our life will bloom. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I
Yes.
never actually looked at that part of receiving. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, and you know what's interesting is last year I took the Beings of Light class. And it was online in the middle of the night. It was like midnight till 8 a.m. or something, because it was in Italy or something. And I was in California. And I was just so drawn to it. I was so interested in it, so curious about it. And I had absolutely no idea what it would do or create. And there was such peace and such joy that I had never experienced before in just the simple exercises that she was doing. And it's like, wow, how much are we missing out on all kinds of amazingness in life because we didn't even know it existed, number one, because you can't really see it. But you can't see love either, but you can perceive it, or gratitude. You can't see these things, but they're there. And the beings of light and other entities, they're there and contributing to entities. Their gratitude is like off the charts. When you can convey a message to somebody else for them, the gratitude that comes into your body and your life is off the charts. And then they make it so that you get more money or somehow you get paid. It's crazy. I can't wait to do more of it. I'm just like, what would it take for more people to ask and more entities to find me with people with bodies who have money who want to pay me? Because that's how it works.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, you know, Julie, like you speak with such joy and enthusiasm, and it's so nice. And I think that a lot of people don't know what talk to the entities classes are like. And I think we have a few people joined kind of late, and I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about how talk to the entities classes could add to someone's life, because some of us are very new to Access.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. Well, first of all, when you do talk to the entities introduction, we address all of the fears and concerns and worries and creepiness and all of that stuff about entities and just take that all away. And then going throughout the course, it really depends how the intro goes, who shows up and where we go with the questions at hand. But then through the beginning workshop, there's all kinds of tools that you learn on how to clear entities, how to communicate with them, starting to find out what your signs are. They call them coping mechanisms. What are your coping mechanisms? And like learning what those signs are, and then going through exercises of actually putting your barriers down and allowing them to come close. And like together with me facilitating, so it's not scary. You actually get to start receiving from entities. And, you know, like your first bars session, you didn't know what it was going to be like or feel like, but there was something there and you were curious and it pulled your attention. And if that is so with Talk to the Entities, if there is some curiosity, there's more than likely some capacity that you have that you could grow and it could add to your life in ways that you have no idea yet. But if it's light at all, or if it feels a little scary, it's usually a little exciting. And all kinds of things open up. It's going to be different for each one of you. But your life will get greater, not worse. And usually, a lot of people's suffering is from their resistance to being willing to look in this area. It's quite amazing. A lot of people talk about aches and pains and headaches and, you know, all kinds of problems with their body that seem like the doctors can't figure out anything. And you might get some relief in body process classes as well, but some of these things are your entity awareness. And when you start learning about that and using the tools, all of that stuff falls away. It's quite amazing. Does that help? Is that, I don't know what else to say.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else would you guys like to know about? I can. Anybody have any past stories, anything?
Yeah, I got it.
Hello.
So how
sorry.
would an entity inside you bring pain to you?
How can an entity inside you, what?
Bring pain. Make, give you pain.
I'm not sure I can say how things happen. It's just when we turn off our awareness to something, our bodies are trying to give us information and show us. And it's usually through feather touch in the beginning, and then it gets more intense and more intense the more we dismiss it, and then it gets to be painful to get our attention. It's not necessarily from an entity in your body, but it could be. Usually entities in your body are like when you can't make up your mind, and you're like constantly feeling like there's a committee going on in there. That's usually another entity. Or when you hear in your head, you shouldn't do this. You don't want this. It's third person, you wouldn't talk to yourself like that. So third person, usually an entity.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're after, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Vanessa?
Hi, sorry. I was the one super late. Apologies about that. I just thank you, Nicole, that you asked, because I'm really new and but interested about the entity class. And I just wanted to know about the part that you said about the creepiness and the scary, because maybe some of us, me, grew up with this idea that it's scary, is like, like I heard stories that my parents used to live in this house, that there was entities, that it was scary, they would do things. And so I grew up with that awareness of like, you shouldn't go in that direction and look for them. So, but at the same time, it's something that it makes me curious about it.
Yeah.
And I do feel, I don't see anything, but I usually feel just goosebumps, or like my legs just go woof out of nowhere. But I never knew. So anyway, so it's more about like the creepiness that you said. How do you clear that? Can you actually just forget about it? Because you grow with that, so it's just.
It's not forgetting, it's an awareness. Like I went on a walk the other night with my daughter, and we went in a different place in the neighborhood than we've ever walked before. And there was a house that looked like it was vacant, and maybe there should have been work done to it, but it was just been sitting there for a while. And there was definitely a creepy vibe. And I said, oh, entities, look at that. And she's like, I don't want to go there. I'm like, I know it feels creepy, but that's because you're aware that there's entities there. Now, you don't have, just because you know that there's entities there doesn't mean you have to do anything about it. But when you acknowledge it, that feeling of creepy, number one, diminishes. And when you don't make them greater than you, and you're an expanded infinite being, like no entity is greater than you, then it's no longer scary. It's just now, okay, do I need to do anything with this? Yes or no? And, if they want you to do something, tell them they have to pay you somehow, because they will.
Okay. Wow.
And you don't know how, but you can tell them, I'm not going to do anything unless you pay me. And what else? There was something else. Just following your awareness about it. Oh yeah, when other people say that it's bad or wrong, anything that's wrong could actually be a strongness. So if you have a curiosity, it's probably because you have a capacity. And if somebody makes it wrong, they're trying to keep you from having that strength, having that capacity.
Okay. All right, that makes
And
sense.
if that feels light, then that's true for you. And that's the thing, each one of us has to perceive our own truth. What's heavy is a lie, and what's light is true. Everything that
True.
brings up pot and pock.
Julie,
Okay.
can I add something to what you just said?
Yeah,
And thanks for that. That was like super clear. And like for my experience, when I took these classes multiple times before, and I used to be the person who was so scared of, I don't know, ghosts or being at home alone and things like that, because I was like so traumatized when I was little watching all the scary Hollywood gory movies. And when I took Talk to the Entities classes, I really got that I'm the most potent, scary entity myself. Like I realized that I'm the most strong one, and I didn't have to be afraid of anything else anymore. So that was so cool.
that's why Shannon says, don't be scared, be scary. And it's so true. Once you know the tools, once you like, I think really taking the beginning class is amazing. Like you don't have to do all of the class. You can, they're great. But just those beginning tools from the beginning class, you no longer have to have any fear. You know exactly what to do and what's possible. It's like you're all, okay, I can handle this. Not a big deal. And how can it make me money? Don't forget to add that in, because a lot of people forget. And Shannon is very adamant that when you're doing something, you get paid for it. She's like, I charge money for these classes because it is amazing, brilliant information. And for you to receive it, you're going to need to pay. Same thing with facilitating an entity. Hey, I'm helping you out here. You need to hook me up. And they will. I've had amazing things show up. I can't wait to see what else. It's cool. Anyone else have a question? Gallon, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah, actually, I don't know how to ask a question because I think Vanessa already asked about what I was curious. But anyway, like, I mean, I recently finished my foundation course last month, and then I just got to know about the entity, and I was really interested in that too. And I mean, my question is that the entity as well that I experienced like yesterday, I was at home alone, and I feel like something heaviness behind my head. And also I was studying online, and I was very tired and kind of really sleepy. While I'm listening to the course, I feel like something is saying, or like speaking, or I don't know. I was not able to figure out what it was and what that was talking about, because it's just like feeling, not really listening something. It felt like somebody is talking to me, but I was really scared.
Yeah,
because
it just takes a bit of practice.
Yeah.
And when like you can go through the tools that you learned in the foundation and see if that helps. And the beginning Talk to the Entities class just takes you a lot further. And I mean, the foundation is like a little taste of 800 different things. So they don't really go in depth. But you can use those and see what shows up and start practicing and playing with it and building that muscle.
So how can I ask about that kind of, if I feel that kind of sense?
Well, you just ask, is this an entity?
Oh,
Yes, no. And you just trust yourself and go with it. Okay, it's an entity. Okay, now what?
mm,
Do they want to be cleared? Do they want to communicate? So it's really breaking it down into
mm,
simple questions. Hey, who are you? Do you know that you don't have a body anymore?
mm. And also I can ask, can I make more money? Like something like that.
If you want me to facilitate you,
Oh,
you're gonna have to pay me.
mm. I see.
And go into my YouTube channel and listen to the entities and money, because I tell a good story with that. Actually, a couple of them. Yeah. And I
Okay.
want to keep this kind of short. So is there anything else? Because if these videos are too long, nobody's going to watch it. I want it to be a resource for you all. And to meet you. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody else who joined, even if it was a little late. I appreciate you being here. I can perceive your energy, and anytime we choose some of this entity stuff, more awareness will come to you. So please don't be scared. Ask a question. And if you need more help, maybe do the intro. You can just do the intro if you want, $75. The next one coming up, I'll be, what is it? October 1st. And then we're doing a beginning class on the 2nd and 3rd. And it's all online or in person. You have choice. I'd love for you to come.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I was late anyway.
Oh, no problem. It happens. And I'll put the recording on YouTube, so you can share it with your friends. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your questions.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Julie.
Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Julie.
Bye.
Bye.